Hello there, it's Elliot here, and I have something very exciting to talk about today. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard the news that was released yesterday about the Criterion Collection finally moving into releasing films on 4K Blu-ray. If you've been on this channel before, you know that two of my real main interests in film collecting is the Criterion Collection and 4K Blu-rays. So having the two come together finally is a really big deal for me, and it will most likely be a big deal for this channel going forward. So let's just talk a bit about what Criterion have said in this announcement, and I have it on my phone here in front of me. Now, this isn't their usual formal announcement of new titles that they do every month. That is going to come in the next few days, so there will be further details about new releases then. This is kind of more of an overview of like a roadmap of their 4K plans. So they've said that they're planning their first slate of 4K Blu-ray releases, and the 6 films, I'll go through them in order. So the first one is Citizen Kane, widely regarded as one of the best films of all time, if not the very best film of all time. And that was released way back in the day on a Laserdisc from Criterion, but it hasn't been in the collection since then. So it doesn't even have a spine number as we know it today. So it will finally be returning to the collection, no less on a 4K Blu-ray. I must say that even though Criterion have said for the longest time that they had no plans to move into 4K discs, I feel like this Citizen Kane one was probably in the works for some time, because it was even rumoured way back about 2 years ago now when they were moving towards their spine number 1000. And of course we got the Godzilla box set then, but a lot of people, it was rumoured that we were going to get Citizen Kane. So I feel like this has been in development for quite some time now. Anyway, I won't go into why Citizen Kane is such a great film here. That's not the point of this video. So I'll move on. The next film is Menace to Society, which is a film I've not seen, but it's one I have wanted to see for the longest time. I have a massive watch list of hundreds of films that I keep meaning to check out, and Menace to Society is on that list. And it sounds like it's going to be a great addition to the collection, particularly because in the last year or so, Criterion have been making some great strides in presenting films from different voices in the community, in particular African Americans and Black filmmakers. So this is definitely part of that, and I know it has a lot of people excited. Third on the list is The Piano, the film from Jane Campion, starring Holly Hunter and Harvey Keitel. And this film is iconic in so many ways. I think it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. Off the top of my head, I can't actually remember, so someone can fact check that. But it has that iconic piano score, which has been played so much, on TV and stuff. So that's very exciting. Next on the list, we have Mulholland Drive from David Lynch. And this is a Criterion favourite, surely going to be a massive seller on 4K Blu-ray. And it's interesting that in Europe, I think Studio Canal are going to be preparing a release on 4K of Mulholland Drive. So I don't know what this means for Criterion UK and whether these 4K releases will come out over here in the UK. I don't know at this point. It's not made clear in the press release that they've made, so perhaps next week we'll have more information about that. But honestly, the way that Criterion UK is run and the way the information comes out about new releases, it wouldn't surprise me if this wasn't even a thought in their head at this point, sadly. But anyway, that's by the by. The fifth title on this list is The Red Shoes. This is the film from Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. One of my favourite films of all time, literally top 5 material. I even just pulled off the Blu-ray just to show it in this video. So this will be upgraded and is already in the collection. That's something I didn't mention about Menace to Society and The Piano. They are not currently within the Criterion collection, so they will be new additions, getting new spine numbers. But The Red Shoes and Mulholland Drive, they will be upgrades. So yeah, I can't wait to see what this looks like on 4K, because if you've seen the Red Shoes before, you know that this is a very colourful film. And Martin Scorsese even went on record to say that this is perhaps the most beautiful colour film ever made. And that's because the way the film was made, it was shot in Technicolor in 1948. And this was overseen by cinematographer Jack Cardiff, who was basically a wizard in the whole Technicolor 3-strip process. So pretty much all of the films he made in Technicolor look amazing, and I'm sure they would look amazing on 4K Blu-ray. Anyway, again, I don't want to bore you all talking about the Red Shoes for too long. So the last title, this is the 6th one that they have announced will be getting a 4K release, is A Hard Day's Night. This is the film starring the Beatles, directed by Richard Lester. Now, this is such an important film in terms of the history of British filmmaking, so I am in particular very excited for this. Not just because it starred the Beatles, who are, one of the biggest bands to ever set foot on this earth, but it was directed by Richard Lester, who is such an important filmmaker in British cinema. So I'm very excited to see this get a 4K release as well. So those 6 titles, that is a great slate, and it has me very excited. Now, there isn't much other information available in this press release. I think Criterion were pretty much saying, we're doing 4K, and these are some of the films. They've not really given too many details. So they've said the first of these editions and their special features will be detailed in our November 2021 announcement next week. So the wording of that implies that just one of these titles will be announced for release next week with the November announcements. And it doesn't really point out which one. Some people have read into it as the first of these editions, meaning Citizen Kane, because that's listed first. But I don't read it that way. So I think it could be any of these 6 that get announced next week. So it will be very interesting, to see what will be the number 1 first Criterion 4K release. The last thing I'll touch on is just one of the technical notes at the end of this article. It says each title will be available in a 4K UHD and Blu-ray combo pack. So that implies to me that the 4K disc will not be available on its own. And it also implies to me that perhaps the Blu-ray will not be available on its own. So you might only be able to get these titles packaged together as a 4K and standard Blu-ray. So it'll be interesting to see if they do go down that route, because I think that could leave a lot of people that are not 4K ready yet. They might be a bit upset by that, and I would totally understand that. They also say that the 4K disc will only include the feature film, so all supplements, all special features will be on the Blu-ray in the set. So that's another interesting choice. I mean, I guess they want to utilize the disc, to its best capacity, and they just want to put that, to use on the film itself. And lastly, it says that select films will be presented in Dolby Vision HDR and Dolby Atmos. So not all of these will be getting, HDR treatment or Dolby Atmos treatment. So it'll be interesting to see what does get those particular treatments. I imagine those will be saved for the more modern films, such as Mulholland Drive. And this seems to be a trend going forward when looking at labels that are releasing older films on 4K Blu-ray. They seem to be foregoing the HDR treatment, maybe because they think that it's not worth it, or maybe it's just too much hassle to do on an older film. I don't know, but it seems like HDR and Atmos won't be certain on every single 4K Criterion. All of that said, I hope you are as excited as I am about the prospect of Criterion moving into 4K, because if they are championing this format for older films and more independent and world cinema films, this is a great thing for the format and for us as collectors. I want to say a thank you to everyone who has watched my recent videos coming back to the channel, and all of the support you have given me. It really does mean a lot to me. So thank you very much for watching these videos. So with that, I will bid you farewell. Have a great rest of the day or night, wherever you are, and stay well and keep watching great films.